Welcome to another exciting hour of Smoky Mountain Wrestling, professional wrestling the way it used to be and the way you like it. Hi, fans. I'm Bob Caudle, and today we'll see the Rock and Roll Express as well as Killer Kyle in action right here. We'll hear from Jim Cornette, the Heavenly Bodies, and Mr. Ron Wright. Also, there's more disturbing and distressing news on the Mystery Men with a bounty on Brian Lee, as well as tape of a new stalker on the loose. And in our main event, Paul Orndorff will take on primetime by Brian Lee in our $10,000 bounty match. My tag partner right here, Dutch Mantell. Dutch?
Well, first of all, in the main event, I'm betting on Paul Orndorff. And today, my special guest on Down and Dirty with Dutch will be the Stud Stable. And we're going to see a tape of last week's wild match between the Heavenly Bodies and the Rock and Roll Express today on Down and Dirty with Dutch.
As we say, fans, it's going to be an exciting and an action-packed hour right here on Smoky Mountain Wrestling, so you stay with us for this hour. Right now, we're about ready with that action, so let's go to the ring.
Wrestling fans, introducing at a total weight of 461 pounds, Robbie Eagle and Mike Sampson.
Just take those old records on down. I sit and listen to them by myself. Today's music.
All right, fans, and right now, entering the ring area, here they are, the four-time World Tag Team Champions. Still, I think Dutch probably the most popular tag team in professional wrestling, Rock and Roll Express.
From Music City, USA, at 446 pounds, Ricky Morton, Robert Gibson, the Rock and Roll Express.
Well, I'd just like to say one thing, Bob Caudle. Rock and Roll, they got a lot of nerve showing their faces up here today in Smoky Mountain.
What do you mean, Dutch?
After that embarrassing defeat they suffered at the hands last week. You know, the Heavenly Bodies.
If it wasn't for the Stud Stable, Ricky and Robert right now would be the Smoky Mountain Tag Team Champions.
Well, and talking about the Stud Stable, they'll be my special guest on Down and Dirty with Dutch, and we'll get their side of the story.
All right, Dutch, I'm looking forward to that one. But right now, fans, I tell you, they were lucky to come out of there with their skin last week. I'm talking about the Rock and Roll Express. At one time, Dutch, I counted them. They had 6 guys on them. There were 6. 2 in the ring. You had Cornette. You had the Stud Stable. Killer Kyle was out there.
Well, you see, that's what's wrong with kids today. That's what's wrong with rock and rollers. They got a smart mouth. And when you got a smart mouth, you take the chance of getting your jaws jacked. Let's talk about the Rock and Roll Express here right now. Are they some kind of rock singers or something?
Yeah. They made a record, a rock record years back. Yeah.
It was released?
Yeah.
No, more like it escaped. I heard about that record. You know what? You know what they sold in that record?
I have no idea.
I tell you, it went plywood. That means it sold. It sold in excess of 150 copies, and is on the verge of going sheetrock. That'd be like 200 copies or something.
Hey, Dutch, listen to this. Now, while you see Ricky Morton in there, and he's got Robbie Eagle in that headlock, we understand that Commissioner Bob Armstrong is going to have a statement a little later on in this hour. There's been a new development in the bounty on Brian Lee, and Dutch, listen to this. A new stalker has appeared.
A new stalker.
A new stalker. There's Eagle now over in the corner wanting a little bit of a recess and a little timeout. He's not going to get it. Gibson with a big, hard right hand. The Eagle goes down on both knees. Reaches back to the tag. These guys, the Rock and Roll Express, Morton from behind with a good takedown. Dutch, they've wrestled, even though they've just been reunited a few short weeks now, these guys have wrestled together for so many years. They've had so many outstanding matches against the finest tag team competition around the world that they really think alike. They know exactly what the other one is going to do. And that's what makes outstanding tag teams.
Yeah, well, when they think alike, that doesn't say much for them because neither one of them do much thinking anyway. So just maybe for one of them to get up and just turn a light and switch off the wall and think about that, that's about the extent of their thinking, what they do.
They gave them an opportunity for the double team.
They're pretty decent wrestlers, but wait a minute, that's it.
1, 2, 3.
Your winners of the match, Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson, the Rock and Roll Express.
And the timing on it is just beautiful when they go with that double drop kick. Dutch, we can go back and watch that. Watch it again.
All right, well, you see the Rock and Roll Express victorious here after that humiliating defeat last week at the hands of the Heavenly Bodies. Here we see their signature move, the double drop kick. They meet Robbie Eagle coming right into it. He walked right into that thing. And now we see the Rock and Roll Express, I suppose, on the comeback trail after the Heavenly Bodies after that defeat last week. But let's go right now to Bob Caudle standing by with the Rock and Roll Express.
All right, Dutch, right you are. And fans, here they are, the Rock and Roll Express. And I tell you, I just told Dutch, if it hadn't have been for the stud stable, there's no doubt in my mind, you guys right now would be Smoky Mountain Tag Team Champions.
That's right, Bob. Since me and Ricky got back on track, it seems like every team around here is trying to derail us. Let me tell you something, stud stable and the Heavenly Bodies. It's going to be a long day hill before you derail the Rock and Roll Express.
Let me say one thing, Bob Caudle. Stud stable, you're not carrying nothing out on the stretcher. We don't care what it takes, brother. We've been there before. 4 times World Tag Team Champions, and we're going there again.
Whoa.
You know, let me tell you something. It says this is a Bible, so I know it's the truth. It's an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. And, baby, you better be ready for the Rock and Roll Express. And now, Jimmy Cornette, you can come out here, you can cry and blow hot air all you want to.
Whoa.
You see, we took the name Express from you, and now we're going to take the Smoky Mountain Tag Team Championship titles from you. Because Bob Armstrong, and I know when he says something, it's the truth. He promised us another title match. And one thing's for sure, Rock and Roll's here to stay. We're not here to play. Whoa!
All right, Rock and Roll Express. And fans, we'll be back. We'll have more action right after time out for this message.
If you'd like to raise money for your school, club, or civic organization, and you'd like to see the excitement of Smoky Mountain Wrestling live in your hometown, this message is for you. High school and college athletic departments, sports teams, police and fire departments, JCs, civic groups, or any group wishing to raise money can bring the stars of Smoky Mountain Wrestling to town for a night of action and receive a portion of the receipt. Write to us or call Sandy Scott at 703-989-6819. Smoky Mountain Wrestling and your civic group, an unbeatable tag team.
All right, fans, with me right now here is Smoky Mountain Commissioner Bob Armstrong. And Commissioner Armstrong, we've talked about the stalker. We know that primetime Brian Lee, that he's had a stalker after him now for many, many weeks. What have we found out about that?
Well, so far, absolutely nothing. But I'll tell you this, in addition to what happened last week, all these problems that have come up because of this contract and this bounty on Brian Lee, I want the fans to take a look at what happened last week as well as what happened recently.
He may finish him right here with that cancellation.
Well, that's the move he put on him. It didn't take him long either on Mike Sampson. Nobody gets up from that hole right there.
Wait a minute.
Brian Lee.
Hey,
Wait a minute. Where did he come from? I
Here's
think
the
he came out from the bottom of the ring, Bob.
A man that had been stalking primetime Brian Lee, he came right out from under the ring.
There he is again.
Attacking Brian Lee, now just working and mauling him. Storm, what a surprise here. Dutch, I can't believe that.
That guy's got to weigh 300 pounds, Bob. I still don't know anything about him or his name, but he is really taking to Brian Lee.
I've never seen anything. Dutch, I'm completely speechless.
Oh, there
I've
comes
never
the Canadian
seen it like
champion
this.
to the ring. There comes Steffi. Oh, he didn't last long, did he?
Here comes Jordan.
Here comes help. Ben Jordan.
Brian Lee is still out in the center of the ring. Here's Jordan. Robbie Elliott now.
There comes Robbie Eagle. Man, this guy, he looks like roadkill in there. A lot of carnage. 4 men down. 4 men down. He's back on Brian Lee now. And he can put him out of action.
Very definitely. All right, here comes Tim Horner.
Look at that face. Look at that face on him,
Here
Bob.
comes Commissioner Bob Armstrong. I know he's got to be dumbfounded. He had all the doors guarded, all the exits watched everywhere to be sure that this man was not able to get into the arena. And Dutch, unlike you, I think he came right out from under the ring.
Tom Pritchard on the top rope, coming up with a big elbow. Right into Tim Horner moves. Both men are down. Let's see who's going to come up with the advantage. Of course, the fans of Dixie Dynamite and primetime Brian Lee trying to get Tim Horner into it. Tim Horner looking for his partners so he can make the tag out. Tom Pritchard rolling over to his corner. Tom Pritchard rolls over to his corner. Tags out and tags to Killer Kyle. There's Tim Horner with a tag to primetime Brian Lee. And it's Katie bar the door. Here comes Stan Lean. Brian Lee taking on all 3 men at this time. Killer Kyle, Tom Pritchard, and Stan Lane. Here comes Dixie Dynamite into the action, taking on first Tom Pritchard, then Stan Lane. Tim Horner getting Tom Pritchard into the corner. It's a big melee, folks. Here comes Brian Lee, a big power slam by Brian Lee onto Killer Kyle. Threw him into the ropes and brought him up with a big power slam. It's mayhem all over the ring. Who is this? Who is this coming to ringside? Brian Lee is trying to get Killer Kyle up for a pile driver. And this man, nobody knows who he is. It's not the same man we've seen lately in Smoky Mountain Wrestling. Comes off the top rope with a sledgehammer on Killer Kyle. An atomic drop on Primetime Brian Lee, rather. It's just sheer mayhem as he gives Brian Lee an atomic drop. Killer Kyle's got the pin. We could have already counted to 20. Here's the referee. 1, 2, 3. That's it.
You see now, Bob, there's more than one freak out there. Who knows how many they are, but I want to tell you something. I got another letter from this gentleman, whoever he may be, and this time it's in the form of a contract letter. Let me read it to you. Commissioner Armstrong, you didn't think I had only one errand boy, did you? I have many followers, many poor souls whose society has rejected. All of them are loyal to me, and all of them are anxious to hurt those who have wronged me. If Brian Lee wishes to face his tormentor and bring his agony and his career to an end, he has his chance. Here is a contract, and you can see right here, Bob, the contract. Brian Lee may sign it and seal his fate. You still don't know who I am, do you? By the time you find out, it will be too late. Well, I don't know who he is, and I really don't care. I'll find out one way or the other. But what I've got the right to do as promoter is sign this big bald man who's been attacking Brian Lee from the rear all these matches. I found out they call him the Mongolian Mauler. Now, I'm going to give Brian Lee a chance at the Mongolian Mauler, even though I don't agree with it, Bob. The man's tried to hurt him so much, but I can understand what Brian's going through. He wants to meet the man face to face that has been on his back for so long, so I'm going to give Brian Lee his match with the Mongolian Stomper. The match is now made.
All right, fans, there you hear from Commissioner Bob Armstrong and what's been going on. The Mongolian Mauler, that was the first stalker, of course, of Primetime Brian Lee, and Commissioner Bob Armstrong has found that out, and the match will take place. He's going to give Brian Lee an opportunity to face the Mauler and face him face-to-face in the ring and take him on in the ring without having to look over his back, look around his shoulder, wherever he might go, not knowing who or where the Mauler might show up. Well, also now we come to find out there is another stalker around. Is there any end to this happening to Primetime Brian Lee? The big man, the big young man who can certainly take care of himself, but he's got a lot to look out for in weeks to come with another stalker after him. And we'll be back. We'll have more right after this.
Welcome to Smoky Mountain Wrestling on your mountain television station. A great card, a wrestling card coming your way on Saturday, October the 10th in Everett, Kentucky at the Everett High School Auditorium as the Stud Stable take on the Fantastics. And just signed a $10,000 bounty match. This will put Brian Lee against the Mongolian Mauler. And this match is now a title match. The Dirty White Boy takes on Tim Horner. And one of our big events of the night, the Rock and Roll Express will take on the Heavenly Bodies. But first, let's hear from the Dirty White Boy, our Smoky Mountain champion.
That's right. And everybody, I want you to stay tuned. Pull up. Mama, quit rattling those pots and pans and get up close to the TV so you can see exactly what happened to Tim Horner when I stretched his stinking little neck like a rubber band. And you know, I heard he went and he asked Mr. Bob Armstrong, Mr. Bob Armstrong, could I please have a title shot? Well, son, you got a title shot. All you got to do is walk the aisle, crawl in the ring, and beat me for this, and I don't see it happening.
Jim Cornette.
You know the only way he's ever going to lose that belt, he's going to lose that belt when Bob Armstrong finally drives him nuts like he's driven me nuts, and he pops something, has a stroke, and falls over. And I'm talking about Everett, Kentucky. You know, there's two things in the world I'm ashamed of. Number one is that I'm from the state of Kentucky. Whenever I come to eastern Kentucky, the welfare capital of the world, people clipping coupons, people on food stamps, standing out on the side of the road with a paper bag with deposit bottles in it, trying to get enough money to buy Granny some groceries. Second thing I'm ashamed of in this world is that the Midnight Express never could quite finish the Rock and Roll Express off. So now the Heavenly Bodies are taking over. Stan Lane, Tom Pritchard, a new concept in tag team wrestling, revolutionizing the sport of wrestling once again. And Rock and Roll Express, you're going to pay the price for it, brother, because what we have failed to do in the past, We're going to make good on this time. At Rock and Roll Express, you are going to see your end in Smoky Mountain Wrestling, especially in Everett, Kentucky, brother.
Wrestling fans, introducing from St. Paul, Virginia, 224 pounds, here's Newton Steffi.
All right, Newton Steffi. And
Isn't he that Canadian champion
he's
guy?
the one you said was a Canadian champion.
Wrestled Dirty White Boy a couple weeks ago.
Virginia, at 224 pounds, but he is looking, I tell you, he may be looking into the eye
Of the Hurricane.
You're right there with,
Or the Eye of the Tiger, maybe.
with Big Killer Kyle.
It's breaking my heart to see all of you sitting there knowing deep down in your heart that this is the baddest man in the world. 305 pounds from Hell's Kitchen, New York, Killer Kyle. What's it like to be on food stamps, huh?
All right, fans, Jim Cornette just introducing Big Killer Kyle over there. Look there, right on that violin case. Wanted, and there's the picture of primetime
And that's
Brian Lee.
a bad picture of Brian Lee, too.
Well, I tell you, that's one of those
Actually,
posters that's been
his
showing
face,
up everywhere.
his face
with
will make
$10,000 on
Bob,
it.
I was talking.
I'm sorry,
Actually,
Doug.
Brian Lee's face will make a Mew back up, take a dirt road.
All right, the bell, and here it is. Newton Steffi, 224 pounds, in a bin against Big Killer Kyle at 305 pounds, and you got to say that weight-wise and every otherwise, it's got to be a mismatch. And I'm sure the guy that would agree with me right here is sitting in. Dutch, move out just a minute. Let's get this guy in. Jim Cornette.
Thank you, Dutch. Oh, shut up, Bob, for a second. Thank you
Jim.
very much, Dutch. I appreciate it. I'm glad somebody out here can tell the truth. You know, Bob, the reason I came down here today, man, there's so much going on in Smoky Mountain Wrestling. There's so much going on in the life and the career of Jim Cornette, the Heavenly Bodies, and Killer Kyle. Look at my man, a human monster. Brother, they used to make movies. People, villagers carrying torches chase guys that wasn't this bad and this tough. You know what I'm saying? Look at him right there. He's the strongest man in the world.
And, Jim, I know you hope that he gets a shot at Brian Lee and that $10,000 before the stalker gets hold of him.
Brother, you see, that's exactly right, because there's somebody got a bad grudge. Not yet, Killer. There you go. There's somebody got a bad grudge against Bob Armstrong, and I kind of like that. There's somebody that wants to get Bob Armstrong, and I'm going to help him out. I'm taking Kyle. I'm putting him in there against Brian Lee. He's going after that bounty. He's going after that $10,000. Any way that we can help out somebody to get at Bob Armstrong's goat and take Brian Lee out of the process. Look at the way the man moves.
Jim, I got to quickly ask you about the ether or the chloroform, something of a few weeks back.
What do you keep talking about that for, man? I'm telling you, the guy, Robert Gibson, you saw last week, he fell out of the ring. He fell out of the ring. Robert Gibson is just the same way as the stinking Fantastics. They got to be on something. I think they're drunk. Maybe they got an alcohol problem. I don't know what the problem is. But just like Bobby Fulton passed out in the middle of the ring, Robert Gibson fell out of the ring last week. Everybody's trying to persecute us. It's a conspiracy because we're the greatest. We can't be stopped. We can't be handled. And that's why Bob Armstrong don't like us.
Last week, Bob Armstrong said he was going to get handcuffs on you and handcuff you to him for the match.
Hey, let me ask you a question. What other professional sport does the commissioner handcuff himself to one of the participants? It's obvious that Armstrong is rigging this thing. It's obvious that he's stacking the deck against us. But because everybody likes good old boy Commissioner Bob Armstrong and nobody likes Jim Cornette and the Heavenly Bodies because the fact that we're superior to everybody else, that's why nobody says anything about Bob Armstrong being biased, being prejudiced.
Jim, you're talking about being superior. Just look how superior this guy in the ring, Killer Kyle, Big Killer Kyle is.
Thank goodness
look
you
at
said
him.
something right. Look at that
Just
strength.
press this guy right over his head and just hold him up there.
Look at him. He's going to throw him just like yesterday's garbage all the way to the city dump. I'm telling you something. This is the most colossal find of my wrestling career. Killer Kyle. He's one of the strongest men I've ever known. He moves like a cat at 305 pounds. He's going to take Brian Lee out. He's not going to let anybody put their hands on me. He is a colossal find, the next bright shining star in professional wrestling. And what I like most about him, he's cruel. He's cold. He has no compassion, no sense of mercy for his fellow man, a kind of guy that I can relate to. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you're saying, and what you said right there, I guess, in a lot of different words, was that he's got the killer instinct.
I tell you what, that's why they call him Killer Kyle, brother. He's got a history out of making people pay when they didn't want to pay and do things they don't want to do.
he can make a mistake, Jim, and he's so strong and he's so powerful that he can come right back from
How
it.
about him against Brian Lee on television for November to Remember, Dream Match Month?
Yes,
what about
sir,
that?
Dream Match Month, November to Remember. The fans may want that, and the fans may write in that for that. Fans,
I don't think these fans can write.
just send in your dream match, the match that you would like to see, and each week during the month of November, Jim, we're going to have a match like that.
Look at this. Look at this. This is the new maneuver that I've taught him, the new maneuver.
He's got that fist right into the...
Right in below the sternum, right in below the breastplate. You see, just like the Heimlich maneuver. The Heimlich maneuver, it forces the air out of a man's lungs. When a man as strong and powerful as Killer Kyle, with his fist below the sternum, putting the pressure on, exerting the pressure, it squeezes the oxygen out of the man's lungs. He literally blacks out. I love it.
Your winner of the match, Killer Kyle.
All right, fans, Big Killer Kyle with that hole that Jim Cornette said that he taught him, and you saw him put it on Newton Steffi, and right now we can go back and in slow motion, Dutch, come on in, and let's see just exactly how he does that.
Well, Jimmy Cornette made a strong case and a strong point for himself. You see the Heimlich maneuver as only can be done by Killer Kyle. Jimmy Cornette personally responsible for this man's success, and we see him squeezing the life out of the Canadian champion, Mr. Newton there, and let's go right now to Bob Caudle standing by with Jim Cornette and the Heavenly Bodies.
All right, Dutch, and right you are, and here they are, and they got these championship belts, which I think you're very fortunate and very lucky to still have in your hand, Stan Lane.
Let me tell you something. Ever since the dawn of time, it's been historically proven that people are sick, degenerate, and perverted. Back in the days of the Christians, they put the thumb down. They wanted to see the people eaten and killed. And now, these people, knowing that I have a perforated eardrum, knowing that I could suffer possible permanent brain damage from loud noise, they insist on yelling and making noise because they want to see me hurt. A Christian athlete like myself.
You don't think they're just doing that on purpose just to hurt him? No way, Tom.
Let me just make one thing perfectly clear, if I may. No matter where we go in the Smoky Mountain region, the same thing happens over and over, time and time again. We want to make sure that you snaggletooth, ugly, fat women keep your hands off us, or else we're going to have a sexual harassment suit against everybody here in the Smoky Mountain area, man.
You said rock and roll one chance at those belts. Commissioner Bob Armstrong says they're going to get another chance, Jim.
Let me tell you something, Bob Armstrong. I've made my feelings on you real clear. Rock and Roll Express, Ricky Morton, Robert Gibson. Everybody knows since 1984, I've hated your stinking guts. They've seen it from Maine to Spain, from Chattanooga to Cucamonga. The Rock and Roll Express and Jim Cornette's Midnight Express, and now the Heavenly Bodies going round and round. Well, brother, I promise you this, Rock and Roll, I'll tie it up in court as long as I have to. You ain't getting another shot at those belts. You don't deserve it. We defended against you once, and that's all you're getting, brother.
All right, fans, we'll be back. We'll have more right after we take this timeout.
Now you can see the excitement of the Volunteer Slam in your own home. A one-night tournament to crown the first ever Smoky Mountain champion is available on video cassette. The 8 top stars of Smoky Mountain Wrestling are featured in 7 great matches to decide who the best really is. To order your Volunteer Slam tape, send $15 plus $2 postage and handling to Smoky Mountain Wrestling, Post Office Box 1279, Morristown, Tennessee, zip code 37815, or write for a free merchandising catalog.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Down and Dirty with Dutch. I'm Dutch Mantell, and you're not, and I'm pleased to announce my good friends and my special guests here at the Stud Stable, Robert Fuller and Jimmy Golden. But before I can talk to these gentlemen, let's go back to last week's wild action between the Heavenly Bodies and the Rock and Roll Express, and then we'll get the real side of the story. School book, textbook suplex. And any of you kids out there that want to be wrestlers, watch these guys here because they do it like the textbook says to do it.
Dutch, I've been informed, too, that Brian Lee...
Wait a minute, a double. He rolled over both men. A tag to Gibson. The fresh man is in.
Look at Gibson going to work on both of them.
Okay.
He's going to slam them together. Oh, with a headbutt.
Fans, the titles are on the line right now. He needs to go for a pin, see if he can get a 3 count.
He got tripped. Killer Kyle tripped Gibson as Gibson came off of the ropes. And a count of 2, and Gibson kicked out. Duck, it looked right there like it was going to be curtains for the rock and roll.
Well, for a lot of
just
teams,
that close. I started to say Brian Lee's receiving treatment. Dutch in the dressing room after that shocking attack at the hands of the stalker. We hope he's going to be all right, fans. Now here is Gibson, slammed hard to the mat, right on that head. Dutch, you can't see him in camera's view yet. Killer Kyle walking away, and here is the stud stable has moved. They moved into the arena. Watch this match. 2.
They're not on camera
Gibson
yet,
kicked
fans.
out again.
But Robert Fuller, Jimmy Godel watching this match with intense interest here. Killer Kyle has left the ring area. Crossbody block.
Crossbody block. Has he got him?
He can't get him. Now Morton's in.
Well, we got all 4
All
in the
4
ring
men's
now.
in the ring right now.
Gibson right over Pritchard. Or Morton over Pritchard. Double drop kick.
There's the Rock and Roll Express's trademark move right there, their signature move.
It takes perfect timing to complete a move like that. They got Cornette.
Cornette's nailed. Cornette's on the floor.
He was nailed by Morton. There's Golden. Golden held a rope down, and when Gibson came charging over to the ropes, he came right out of the ring. And they lift him up and roll him right back in. Oh, he's going to be pinned.
Your winner of the match and still Smoky Mountain Tag Team Champions, Stan Lane and Tom Pritchard, the Heavenly Body.
Okay, we saw the tape. Now, Robert, you've been a good friend of mine over the years. Now, just for the fans at home, if you shut up in here and let us talk, just be quiet.
Just don't get him started, Doc.
Well, first of all, can you tell us what actually happened? I know you've been scouting the rock and roll, but what happened? You have a lot of bad comments.
To it, I want to say this. I thank you for inviting us out here because I'd like this opportunity to just clear the air about the whole thing. What happened, Jimmy and I standing there, we're watching the match. We got drawn up in the action, and that brought us down to ringside.
Yeah.
We're down here at ringside. Here come the man against the rope. Tumbled clumsy, fell over the rope, darn near fell on top of me and Jimmy. Had we not have been there to make sure he's straight over like he was, he might have hurt somebody in the audience.
Yeah.
When we was getting him up, trying to help him back to the ring, I happened to notice something, Dutch. His eyes was so glassy and bad. I want to go back to the days of the real rock and rollers. I'm talking about God-fearing people. Ricky Nelson and Elvis Presley. Lord knows never touched a drug in all of his life. I'm a personal friend of him, and so is Jimmy. I can say this. Now you got your Aerosmith out there. You got your Guns N' Roses, and all you see is the drugs and the alcohol and the drinking. You never see it from me and Jimmy. I'll tell you this. I'm a God-fearing Christian. I'm a member, honorary member of the DARE program myself. I can tell you, baby, just as sure as you boys want to take the ride down here, you better dope yourself up. You better get out there, and you better stick a needle down in every artery. Because, son, you're going to need it when you take the ride. Am I right, Jimmy?
Drugs, alcohol, and none of that stuff will do you no good when you step in the ring with the stud stable boys, because we're going to send you out flat of your back.
There you heard it, friends. There you heard it, wrestling fans. Robert Fuller, Jimmy Golden sending a personal message to the rock and roll fans. Don't go away. Orndorff, Brian Lee coming up. 2 minutes. Don't go away. Thank you, guys.
If you'd like to raise money for your school, club, or civic organization, and you'd like to see the excitement of Smoky Mountain Wrestling live in your hometown, this message is for you. High school and college athletic departments, sports teams, police and fire departments, JCs, civic groups, or any group wishing to raise money can bring the stars of Smoky Mountain Wrestling to town for a night of action and receive a portion of the receipt. Write to us or call Sandy Scott at 703-989-6819. Smoky Mountain Wrestling and your civic group, an unbeatable tag team.
Fans, here's news about an exciting new contest from Smoky Mountain Wrestling. It's the Dream Match Contest, where you can pick the matches you'd like to see. Write to Smoky Mountain Wrestling with your dream match, picking any match you'd like to see featuring the stars of Smoky Mountain Wrestling. Each week on TV during the month of November, a different dream match will be picked, and you'll see it right here, with some great prizes for the winners and a chance at the grand prize for all that enter. Now, here's the information on how you can enter the Dream Match Sweepstakes.
Smoky Mountain Wrestling and Classy Motors of Knoxville present the Dream Match Sweepstakes. 5 dream matches will be chosen to air on Smoky Mountain Wrestling, one each weekend in November. If your match is chosen, your name drawn, you'll receive a package of videotapes, T-shirts, and more valued at over $50. All dream matches entered are eligible for the grand prize. An all-expense-paid trip to Thanksgiving Thunder in Knoxville, Tennessee on Thanksgiving weekend. Round-trip airfare for 2 were applicable. Hotel, limousine transportation to and from the event, ringside tickets, and dinner with your favorite wrestling star. To enter, send your dream match to Dream Match, Post Office Box 1279, Morristown, Tennessee 37016. Include your name, address, and phone number. Deadline for entries is Wednesday, October 7th. The Dream Match Sweepstakes, part of Dream Match Month. A November to remember from Smoky Mountain Wrestling and Classy Motors of Knoxville.
All right, fans, and with me right now here is Mr. Ron Wright, and of course the manager of the Dirty White Boy. I honestly thought you were having that big heart attack last week when the Dirty White Boy was defeated by none other than White Lightning Tim Horner.
Oh, let me tell you, you mentioned White Lightning Tim Horner. I get so bad I'm liable to have another heart attack out here. That man has handed me more than any bill collector I've ever had to hand me in my life. Me down in a wheelchair, crippled, a man calling my home 24 hours a day, sending the law out to the house to get me to return his phone because he wants a title match. I didn't promise that man a title match. He's out there lying through his teeth, accusing me of promising to give him a title match out there if we got beat. Bob, you know the gentleman Ron Wright is, would never go back on his word. I'm down and out on my luck just trying to raise enough money to get to the hospital to have a hip implant, have open heart surgery. Oh, you hit an old cripple like me. There ain't no way you'd hit a broke-down cripple man like me.
You told me, the Dirty White Boy told me, if I beat him last week, he'd give me a title shot. Now, where's my contract?
I've not got no contract. I've got arthritis so bad in my right hand and shoulder, I can't even write to sign a contract. But I watched that video, and not one time did I say on there that I'd give you a contract to have a title match. You're just lying through your teeth like you always did. You're a yellow-bellied, I don't know, I just can't call you what I'd like to out here on TV. They'd probably have me arrested.
Well, let me tell you something. You might not have said it, but the Dirty White Boy said it. That's what he said it, by God.
From behind, there's the Dirty White Boy who hit Tim Horner with that chair. Dutchie came flying in. He got Horner right from behind with that chair, drove him right into Ron Wright. Here he goes right into our desk now as he stomps and kicks away at Tim Horner. Dutch, he's going to put handcuffs on him, and he's got his hands handcuffed behind him. Got him by the hair. What in the heck can a man do like that?
No more than a couple weeks ago, he slapped him right here on television 2 weeks ago.
Now, wait a minute. Wright gave him a noose. He gave him a noose. And now it's right around the neck of Tim Horner.
He's got him behind him quartered here. He's got him handcuffed with a noose around his neck.
And they got that noose around the neck of Tim Horner. And he's going to drag him. Dragging him toward the ring with that noose around his neck. This could be deadly to Tim Horner, Dutch.
Hey, it's none of my concern. Tim Horner, he made his own bed, and now he's going to have to lie in it. That's all I can say.
No way that Horner. I think that's a snip.
Call me a liar. The gentleman that I am.
He's
stringing him up. He's stringing him up, Bob.
He's strung up. That's right.
He's hanging him from the corner.
He's hanging him from the corner.
He's tying him off, too. Now, he is hanging.
He's got him hanging, and his feet are off of the floor. He's hung him with that noose, tied him around on the ropes with his hands handcuffed behind him, Dutch. Now, here comes some help. Robbie Eagle comes out, the Dirty White Boy, right back to the attack on him.
Now, see, guys are going to learn, don't get involved in something you have no business being in.
You got to. I mean, I've never seen anything. Have you ever seen anything like this before?
No, I've never seen anything like this before, and I'm not going to get involved in it. It's none of my concern.
Tim Horner, look at him. Horner needs some help as he's being hung from the rope now by the Dirty White Boy. And everybody that comes out goes down.
He put the Bucksnort
They're trying to permanently eliminate Tim Horner as he's got him hanging from that top rope. His hands are handcuffed behind him. He's completely defenseless. Nothing he can do. They don't do this to horse thieves.
Well, he is bleeding from the mouth. He looks in serious trouble.
He is in serious trouble. There's no doubt about it. Never seen anybody do this to a man like the dirty white boy.
He needs some help. Here comes the rock and roll.
Here comes rock and roll.
They better not worry about White Boy. They better get Tim Horner out of that noose, get him down. Because that oxygen's been cut off to that brain at least a minute.
Oh, and the dirty white boy, as he goes out, says there's his title shot. As Tim Horner now being untied.
The blood coming from his mouth.
And being helped out. And Dutch, I tell you.
Tim Horner's hurt.
Now you can see the excitement of the Volunteer Slam in your own home. A one-night tournament to crown the first ever Smoky Mountain champion is available on video cassette. The 8 top stars of Smoky Mountain Wrestling are featured in 7 great matches to decide who the best really is. To order your Volunteer Slam tape, send $15 plus $2 postage and handling to Smoky Mountain Wrestling, Post Office Box 1279, Morristown, Tennessee, zip code 37815, or write for a free merchandising catalog.
Fans with me right now, Commissioner Bob Armstrong. I can't.
Excuse me, Bob. Let me just say this. That's right. That's enough. That's all we're going to stand for. I'll tell you something, Ron Wright and Dirty White Boy. You're not getting away with this. If you think you are nuts. I'm going to tell Tim Horner he can have as many matches as he wants to with the Dirt White Boy until he gets that title. And Mr. Ron Wright, if you want to sue Smoky Mountain Wrestling, if you choose to sue, go ahead. I'll find some way, shape, or form to strip that Dirty White Boy of that championship belt. I'm going to check on Tim right now.
All right, fans, I tell you, that's going to be something. And we're going to see our $10,000 bounty match in just a moment. Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff, primetime Brian Lee. But before we do, let's hear these words about Mr. Wonderful from none other than the man with the hands of stone, Mr. Ronnie Garvin. Let's hear from Ronnie right here.
Let me tell you something, Paula. Yeah, you heard me right, Paula. That's what I'm going to call you. From now on, you're Paula. Paula Orndorff. Well, you don't touch this. You don't touch my personal stuff. This is personal. This is my towel. It belonged to a fan. Because every night I step in a ring, I throw one of these away, and my fans know it. And Paul Orndorff, you're going to pay. I don't know what it's going to be, even if I got to take your false teeth or your underwear, but I'm taking something.
Wrestling fans, this is your TV main event. Introducing first, already in the ring from Atlanta, Georgia, 250 pounds, Mr. Wonderful, Paul Orndorff.
And of course, this is our $10,000 bounty match. The winner walking away with $10,000, and there's been a lot of speculation. And Orndorff is the man that's been putting out those posters, or having them put out, with primetime Brian Lee's picture all over them.
You say Orndorff was the man who was doing it?
I say there's a lot of speculation that Orndorff may be the man that's doing that. And here is the man.
I'll tell you what, Paul Orndorff, Mr. Wonderful, you're out here running your mouth about 10 grand. Let's see if you can get $100 worth of prime time right now. Paula, 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 Paula.
And prime time, Brian Lee. I tell you, this guy is ready. He wants a piece of Mr. Wonderful, and he wants it bad.
Well, they're going right into it. Before this match gets started too much, you see these two men going in. This is a bounty match for Paul Orndorff. See if he can pick up $10,000. Obviously, somebody dislikes Brian Lee that much that they can put $10,000 for anybody to knock him out of active competition. Competition in Smoky Mountain. Let me say one thing. What just happened here, the last segment, Dirty White Boy attacking Tim Horner, was one of the most vicious acts I've ever witnessed in all my years of professional wrestling. But now, Bob Armstrong to come out here and say that Tim Horner can have all the title matches he wants, that depends right now on Tim Horner and his condition. And fans, we will try to get an update on his condition before this match is over.
Yeah, Dutch, we don't know what it is. And as you say, that was you had never seen anything like that. Dutch, I've been around a long time, and I've been around the horn a lot. I've seen a lot of wrestling matches. I've never seen anything like that. I've never seen anybody stoop so low as to do something like that with a noose around the neck to literally hang somebody from the rope.
He was bleeding from his mouth, and his eyes were rolled back in his head. A vicious act by Dirty White Boy. But yet at the same time, You got to be a man in this sport. You got to stand up and you got to watch yourself for attacks like that. Tim Horner talking big, saying he wants this, he wants that. Well, I think he underestimated the viciousness of the dirty white boy, and he found.
Oh, I don't think there's any doubt about that.
And he found out firsthand.
Well, I tell you, you're looking at a man in the ring in primetime Brian Lee, where fans all over the Smoky Mountain area are riding in support of this young man, Brian Lee. He's literally battling for his career against a variety of opponents. Some he knows and some he don't know at all because of the warped individual that's writing all those letters to Bob Armstrong. Dutch, who could have such a grudge against wrestling, or a grudge against society like that he would put a price on a man's head, that he would send anonymous threatening letters to the commissioner, that he would hire a band of misfits to cause chaos? Dutch, who in the world would do something like that?
Dan Quayle?
Oh, no, Dutch. No, Dutch.
You don't think Dan Quayle could do it? Maybe Bill Clinton could do it. Who knows?
Yeah,
hey, I know a lot of things, but I don't know that. I will say I don't know who is behind this. But I know Brian Lee, he had better watch his every step. He'd better be looking in the back seat of his car. He better be looking at every room that he goes into. He better watch every motel or hotel he stays at. Because obviously somebody is watching him, and stalkers can be very dangerous because most of the time they're anonymous. You don't know who they are.
That's right, and evidently there's another stalker. Dutch, we believe now that the first stalker that we've seen is named the Mongolian Mauler, and the contract that was sent to Bob Armstrong has been signed, and Brian will be meeting this huge man very soon.
Well, Brian Lee, first of all, before he can meet anybody, he's got to get through Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff. And let me tell you the strategy that's going on right now with Mr. Wonderful. He is not going to try to attempt just to pin Brian Lee. That's the farthest thing from his mind, because what's most important to him right now is the $10,000 that's on Brian Lee's head. A pin would do him no good. Actually, he might want to pin him just for self-satisfaction, but he would still like the $10,000 just to say, just to claim, just to have that claim to fame that he put Brian Lee out of active competition in Smoky Mountain Wrestling.
Well, prime time Brian Lee, he's really been carrying the match too, Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff. He had Orndorff outside of the ring. He worked him over outside, back in. He's gone to the arm now. And with an arm bar, he had a lot of leverage and a lot of pressure on that arm and on that shoulder as he continues to attack Orndorff. Orndorff now trying to come back with some good forearms, and he's got a lot of power in that right forearm blow. Goes down from a block as he comes off of the ropes, and he comes off hard. Right back to the attack very quickly. It's prime time Brian Lee right on top again.
Good wrestling move by Orndorff.
It was a great one. He dove for the head, and Brian Lee saw it coming, pulled right out just in the nick of time, Dutch.
Now, you see, let me tell you what's going through Brian Lee's head. He's going to have to try to keep this attack up. A good defense your best defense is a good offense. And what he's going to try to do is maintain control of Mr. Wonderful and never let him get the upper hand, never let him get the momentum to swinging in his direction, because if he knows that, I think, and everybody knows what a dangerous man, what a dangerous creature Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff is, and Brian Lee fully realizes that, even in that feeble, inactive brain that he possesses.
Here's a smart guy. Time Brian Lee, a smart athlete, a smart wrestler in the ring, Dutch.
Well, he's not too smart because he went bungee jumping the other day.
Always goes in
and he did it wrong.
With a good game plan, no doubt.
He didn't jump off. He didn't tie the cord around his feet.
What did he do it?
Tied around his neck.
Oh, God, no way.
And now he's got brain damage.
Dutch, we've had tremendous matches.
Big elbow drop miss by Orndorff.
And if the dream matches that the fans send in are any better than these, it's certainly going to be a November to remember.
Well, what if people write in and say, I'd like to see Dutch Mantell take on Bob Caudle. Would you climb in there with me?
Yes, sir, Dutch. We'll get in there.
You're a tough man, aren't you?
Yeah, but I may not last but about a second or two, but we'd do it.
All right.
Hey, also, fans, keep in mind that the deadline for the entries is October 7th, and also there's going to be a grand prize awarded to some lucky individual.
Yeah, the grand prize is dinner with me.
It's been mostly primetime Brian Lee in this match. Dutch, I think he has really taken the action too, Mr. Wonderful.
Well, that's what he's going to have to do to see if he can. See, the best thing Brian Lee can do right now is just hope to get out of there intact and without an injury.
To the ropes he goes. Orndorff, he was waiting on him when he came charging off of the ropes.
Smart.
And there goes Lee right through the ropes, off of the apron, down onto the floor.
Smart move for Orndorff, because he had Brian Lee's 285-pound momentum already going. All he did was slip in there and just give him an extra little boost, shoot him right outside the ring.
Yeah, and with that much weight and all that power behind it, no way Brian Lee could stop.
He brings him right over. It takes tremendous strength.
Man.
Tremendous strength. See, that rope is at least 4 or 4.5 feet high, and he has to lift him over that. The body cannot drag. If the body drags, the move is flawed. So
yeah, Dutch, you're right.
A lot of strength to suplex a man from outside in.
Nobody's ever going to say anything about the power and the strength of Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff. He's got it all. He's a complete package, there's no doubt. He's got the athletic ability, he's got the size, the power, and the strength, also the wrestling knowledge and the experience. He's got everything in his corner, Dutch.
Yeah, let me tell you what else that $10,000 bounty has put on Brian Lee other than added pressure. He has made a lot of wrestlers wake up and see the potential in wrestling Brian Lee. Not only Paul Orndorff, not only Dirty White Boy, not only the Heavenly Bodies or Robert Fuller or Jimmy Golden. There are other wrestlers across the country, and I know they know what's going on here, and pretty soon a lot of men are already shooting at Brian Lee, and that number is going to quadruple in probably the next couple of weeks as soon as word gets out in the grapevine.
Well, Brian Lee had a lot going for him. It had been his match up to this point when he was clotheslined.
Orndorff off the top rope.
Oh, right into the knees. Prime time, Brian Lee got the knees up right into the midsection of Paul Orndorff. Out near the center of the ring now. Look at those big right hands, roundhouse right hands by Brian Lee.
Big power slam.
Drove the shoulder hard right into the midsection with that power slam, and this could be it, Dutch.
Yeah.
It could be over right here.
Brian Lee on the top rope. What's he going to do now?
He missed it that time.
Now
it
that
was Orndorff
that
who rolled
move
out
right
from
there was brilliantly stupid. Brilliantly stupid on Brian Lee's part. Now, why did he get up there on the top rope?
It was awfully slow taking place, wasn't it?
He telegraphed that he may have well sent a telegram.
Wait a minute, Orndorff's out of the ring. Where's he going?
You see,
he's got the bell.
See, he doesn't
He's got the ring bell.
He's got Brian Lee now. Now, see, the bounty theory.
Oh, no, wait a minute. He shouldn't have that in the ring. No way. He's going to pile drive him. He's going to try to pile drive him on the bell.
Referee calling for the bell, I think. Wait a minute, he's got him up in the pile drive. He can't do it.
Brian Lee.
He almost bought the farm on that one.
The referee says stop. It's all over.
The referee has stopped the match because he brought the bell in the ring and trying to get him. Now Brian Lee's got it.
Ooh. And Orndorff, he ducked out from under that just in the nick of time. Orndorff went out. He got that bell. He took it into the ring. He was going to pile drive. Prime time Brian Lee.
Well,
referee Mark Curtis has disqualified Paul Orndorff. Your winner of the match, Prime Time Brian Lee.
Well, let me say one thing right now. Prime Time Brian Lee, he dodged the bullet on this one, but there will be others, and they will may be more successful.
And fans, we'll be back. We'll have more right after this.
Welcome to Smoky Mountain Wrestling on your mountain television. A great wrestling card coming up on Saturday, October the 10th in Everett, Kentucky at the Everett High School. The Stud Stable take on the Fantastics. One of our matches signed, and just signed a $10,000 bounty match will put Brian Lee against the Mongolian Mauler. And this match now a title match. The Dirty White Boy takes on Tim Horner. And in the main event, the Rock and Roll Express take on the Heavenly Bodies. Now let's hear from Tim Horner.
You know, Phil, all the fans are going to get to see what happened a little earlier in this show about my neck. You know, I've been injured a lot in professional wrestling, but I've never had nobody come out. Look at my neck. Look at this, Phil. I've never had nobody come out and deliberately try to break my neck like the Dirty White Boy did. Oh, sure, I've had injuries, but nobody has ever tried to handcuff me and hog-tie me and try to hang me like Dirty White Boy did. Well, people say, well, why aren't you mad? It happened a couple of days ago. Sure, I was mad, but I got over that. Now it's time to get even, Dirty White Boy. Title, forget the title right now. It's you I want, and I'm going to get you.
Rock and Roll Express in Everett, Kentucky.
You know, Jimmy Cornette, just when you thought it was safe to come out, what happens? Here comes the Rock and Roll Express. We're going to be a thorn in your side, boy. Everywhere you look, you better watch out. We're right on your tail.
Isn't it just like old times, Jimmy Cornette? Back in the saddle again, baby, but this time he's got the Heavenly Bodies. Oh, yeah. One of them's saying Stan Lane, but now he's got Tom Pritchard. Well, you see, Jimmy Cornette, we don't care. For years, we always been a thorn in your side, and we're back, and we're here to stay. Now, we know Jimmy Cornette, and all the fans do, because they can see it in the Rock and Roll Express's eyes, that we got titles on our mind. And Jimmy Cornette and the Heavenly Bodies, we got to go through you to do it. Well, that's just right down our alley because Jimmy Cornette, you know what the Rock and Roll Express thinks about you. So I want all the fans to come on out and get there early because the Rock and Roll Express is always there early meeting the fans because we got a big chore to do that night. Oh, yeah. That's to take care of the heavenly bodies. And when it's all over, Jimmy Cornette, we're going to stick that racket where the sun don't shine.
All right, fans, and with me right now here is primetime Brian Lee. I tell you what, a matchup there with Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff. I know you didn't want to win it on a disqualification. You could have bought the farm, though, if he'd have pile drived you on that bell.
That's the big word, if.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, $10,000 make a man do a lot of things. But when you come at primetime Brian Lee's face, that's exactly what you're going to get. It's 10 grand worth of butt whipping. And I'm talking to everybody in the dressing room. I don't care if it's White Boy, Heavenly Bodies, Paul Orndorff, whoever. I'm standing here 6'8", 280, so come and get it.
All right, fans, there you hear the story from primetime Brian Lee, who still got to look over his shoulder because the new stalker is stalking him. Primetime Brian Lee. Fans, that's going to wrap it up for this week. We'll see you next week. Until then, so long for now.